Hello and welcome to the Retro Game Review. This is Pokemon Yellow, the 8th review of the Retro Game Review, and it's a classic in some eyes of Pokemon fans and not so much in the others. I played Red and Blue before this, and I thought this game would be a lot different since it was supposed to be based on the show, and I was somewhat disappointed. Doesn't mean that this isn't a good game, but for me it just didn't get enough away from the Red and Blue versions to warrant me buying this new game. And so here's some gameplay of it. This is still an awesome game, and I would recommend someone playing this. So it starts out kind of the same, and it shows you Pikachu right there, kind of like it's kind of like the show being very Pika-centric, and having Pikachu as kind of the main character. And it really starts out the same. You name your character, and of course I'll call my character Ash, and I'll have the rival be Gary. So it's kind of like the show in that, but yeah, he doesn't know his own grandson's name, which is always funny. And that's a cool joke that is in Pokemon, and it's just kind of lightens the mood a little bit. And Pokemon can get serious sometimes, but it's funny a lot of other times. So, like the other versions, our journey begins. So if you've never played Pokemon before, you try to catch Pokemon, and you start off with one, and that leads you to catching other Pokemon. Right now I'm withdrawing a potion, so you use a system of computers to store Pokemon and store items, and it's really kind of a free game. You can walk around, talk to people, look at signs, go in different houses, and it kind of stops you when it needs to expand the storyline. Like right here, I can't go out into the grass by myself because I need to have a Pokemon, and here's the Pokemon I'm going to get. And so it kind of goes with its own storyline. This isn't really the storyline from the TV show. In the TV show, he wakes up late, and so he has to get a Pikachu. In this one, his grandson, or Professor Oak's grandson, is too impatient, and so he needs to get his own Pokemon. So right here, this shows the battle. You can pick from a certain amount of attacks, and they all have some power to it. Once you run out of power, you can't use that attack anymore. And of course, there's some weaknesses and benefits for each Pokemon. And I'm not attacking a Pokemon that has a weakness to Thunder, but of course, the main character Pikachu has thundered attacks, and that's Gary's Eevee, who can turn into 3 different Pokemon, and I just defeated him. Once he has run out of HP, he's defeated, and he cannot fight anymore. And it shows Pikachu can go up in level, and at different levels you can learn different attacks, and for some Pokemon they can even change into different Pokemon and evolve. So Gary, of course, goes away to train his Pokemon up some more, like in the other versions, and then it shows one of the main points, and one of the huge points that's different from Red and Blue is that Pikachu, like the show, does not like to be in the Pokeball. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was cool that you could talk to Pikachu, and he has different emotions for different times in the game. So I really like that part of it. And then of course it shows right here how it's the same as other Pokemon games. You go into the tall grass and you find Pokemon to catch. So right here it shows that Pidgey is weak to Thunder, and it's saying that he's super effective, or that the Thunder is super effective. I like that in these RPGs that there's weaknesses, and they have some have resistance to some attacks. And see right here, throw out a Pokeball to catch a Pokemon, and it can fail. The Pokeball can fail sometimes, and sometimes you'll catch the Pokemon. It depends on different factors. You can put them to sleep to have a better chance of catching them, but that's one of the main parts of the game is you're supposed to get more Pokemon to aid your team, and you're supposed to have a balanced team, which comes into play real big later in the game to make sure that you have a balanced team. And you can give nicknames to your Pokemon, and your rival will always show up again and again in the game. I think she shows up 3 or 4 times in the game, and it is so easy to get beat by your rival, get beat by anybody in this game. This game seems to be a little bit harder than Red and Blue, and I show you right here that my Pikachu wasn't leveled up enough to beat Gary's Eevee, and so I'm out of Pokemon, and I'm gonna black out. Here's the part of the game that's again the same. You have to go past this guy, and he teaches you how to catch Pokemon, like you really needed to know that. But I still like it. It's kind of comical that they'll keep some of the same stuff from the red and blue, just 100% the same. Just like this guy right here, you can talk to him and he'll tell you a little bit about all the gyms. And the gyms all have a certain type, like this is the ground type gym. And so I'd have to fight ground type people, like Geodude and things like that. But it's really super hard because Pikachu, he has thunder attacks and he cannot hurt ground types. So you either have to get your Pikachu up to level 20 so that he can use Slam, or find someone else to fight him. So Pikachu is kind of useless in this gym, which is kind of funny that you start out a Pokemon that's useless in the first gym. But I get my Pikachu up to level 20, and so I have a fighting chance against Geodude and well, Brock and his Geodude and his Onix. Wouldn't it be awesome though in the show Pikachu actually just slammed into Geodude and Onix instead of like actually causing a fire for them and getting the Onix wet? That would be an awesome way for that episode to end. But this isn't 100% like the show. It could have been a little more like the show. And after you get done with this fight, the sad thing is Brock doesn't follow you. I was hoping for like it to be like an Earthbound type situation where Brock and Missy would follow you, but that doesn't happen. And that's one of the things that I really say is not the same as the show, which it really doesn't become much like the show. And that's what was one of my main complaints with this game, that it wasn't like the show and it was just really a lot like Red and Blue. It really didn't give me a total upgrade over those. Now when Gold came out, that was just a totally different game and it was one of my favorite games ever. But Yellow wasn't that much of an upgrade to me. I still love it and I still recommend it, but it could have had a little more content. Like I thought one cool thing would have been if they had AJ's Gym with a Sandshrew and different things like that, or maybe the Rapidash Dash Race. I know that the Game Boy was limited in what it could do graphic-wise and game-wise, but I think they could have put a little more content in it. Saying that said, these games are some of the deepest games on the Game Boy, so there is already a lot of content on it. So Pikachu defeats Onix by slamming into him, and that was one way to defeat the first trainer, or the first trainer to get your first Boulder Badge, or get the first badge, which is the Boulder Badge. I'm just totally tongue-tied around here, but whatever. So this is the other way to do it. You can train up a Mankey, and if you get him to about the mid-teen levels, he'll be able to use Low Kick and totally just destroy everybody. So this is a much easier route. This depends if you want to really try to be like the show or not, and if you just really want to challenge, because it took a long time to level up the Pikachu, but it didn't take as long to level up the Mankey to level 15. And so Mankey just can totally destroy these two, and he really destroys Onix and both Geodude with not much effort, because they are super weak to fighting types for some reason. I don't know why. When you kick a rock, it's really super hurt, but whatever. So here's the cool part right here. Team Rocket actually makes a showing in here, and they have the same Pokemon like Ekans and Coughing and Meowth. And so again, Gary's always on your tail. He's always getting new Pokemon, which is cool, and he's upgrading to try to beat you. He seems like he has only you on the line, so that's a pretty cool thing about it. And again, you try to play to his weaknesses too, like I can send Pikachu out to attack the Sparrow. And I think it was really cool that the game actually tries to like mimic what you have, so that he can have the exact opposite team of it. And so eventually you get all the badges and you go through to the Elite Four. It's not like the show where there's actual tournament for the Pokemon League. You go through these trainers called the Elite Four, and you have to destroy all their Pokemon. Right here's an ice trainer that has all ice Pokemon, and it's pretty easy for Pikachu to get by, but the Elite Four can't even be defeated by just a Pikachu by itself. It is pretty much impossible. The Pikachu right here is level 100. He's really rolling through right here, but still there's a need for a balanced team, since your rival is the last boss in this game. And also right here, there is a fight against an Onix. So you have a problem against the Onix in the very beginning of the game and the very end of the game. So you need to have some kind of at least water Pokemon to combat these foes at the end, because Pikachu really doesn't cut it at this high level. And so The good thing about this game is that you get all 3 starters, like Ash did in the show. So you get a Pikachu, a Bulbasaur, and a Charmander. Meant to say Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander. I'm just off my rocker today. And so the Squirtle, if you raise it until Blastoise, should be able to combat this Sandshrew pretty well. If not, Pikachu has a hard time against this and probably won't win, even at level 100. So this has been the Retro Game Review, and I would recommend this game to anybody who likes Pokemon games and people who like Pikachu. This game was just a little bit disappointing to me at the time, but I have found it to be a good game and a good separation from Red and Blue. Even though it wouldn't have had some of the things I liked in the show, like maybe AJ's gym, like I mentioned before, or anything else like that, it still kind of separated itself a little bit. And unless you're a big Raichu fan, I'd recommend this to you because it's a great game and one of the great parts of Pokemon history. You can't ignore the first generation. There were some good games and there were some great ingenuity. There were some great games starting the Pokemon craze for Nintendo and raising them millions and billions of dollars from Pokemon related items. So this has been the Retro Game Review, as I said before, and please like, subscribe, comment. I'd like to hear your comments about what you think about this double batch of review from me, the Duck Avenger. So I love that you have watched this video, and I just tell you, stay cool. There's going to be a lot more videos on the way. And the next Retro Game Review I'm thinking is going to be Bucky O'Hare from the Nintendo, the classic game based on the classic TV show. So I just have to say stay cool and gotta catch them all.